Back in 2001, The Fast and the Furious put Vin Diesel and Paul Walker on the map like never before. With this street racing action flick, director Rob Cohen likely didn't know he was about to launch one of the biggest film franchises of the 21st century. More than that, there's no way that Walker or Diesel had any clue themselves. And yet, with 9 sequels, a spin-off, and a children's animated series, the Fast and Furious franchise has grown well beyond expectation. But did you know that the original film could have ended a bit differently? Had Cohen and company stuck with this alternate ending, it may have changed the franchise drastically moving forward. How did The Fast and the Furious almost end? In the deleted ending to The Fast and the Furious, titled Moving Out, Brian O'Connor, Walker, is let go by the Los Angeles Police Department, who for some reason opt not to press charges against their turncoat officer. But instead of going home and figuring out his next move, Brian is shuttled to the Toretto house, where he finds Mia, Jordana Brewster, packing things up in the garage. Though he can't help but ask if she knows where Dom Diesel is, the subject quickly changes to their relationship. Because of Brian's betrayal, any genuine feelings Mia felt for the guy are muddled, and she's unsure if she can trust him again. Of course, Brian fights for her anyway, and the scene ends with a hopeful finish that alludes to a future reconciliation. After everything they've been through, and Brian's willingness to help Dom despite his duties as a cop, it makes sense that Mia would consider taking him back, even after such a big lie. Also, Brian offers to help her with packing up the place but then stands idly by as the camera pans over to the Los Angeles skyline, which is both strange and amusing. Where the two of them would have gone after this is uncertain, but this ending would have no doubt made Too Fast, Too Furious a different movie entirely, though maybe that would have been a good thing. As The Fast and the Furious stands. The original film actually ends with Brian handing Dom the keys to his Supra after nearly deciding to arrest him. The pair come to a mutual understanding, and the street racer gets away without another word. A post-credits scene reveals that Dom got away, having fled to Mexico, but we don't hear from Brian or Mia again this time around. In fact, Mia isn't seen again until the 4th movie, Fast and Furious, which is also the next picture in the series to reunite Brian and Dom, who both appear independently during the 3rd and 4th movies. Brian and Mia being together could have shifted the franchise, ending The Fast and the Furious with Brian and Mia together would have likely shifted the franchise in an entirely new direction. For starters, Too Fast, Too Furious takes Brian to Miami, where he makes his living as a street racer before being conscribed by the FBI to take down a drug lord named Carter Verone, played by Yellowstone's very own Cole Hauser. The sequel, the only one not to feature Vin Diesel in any capacity, ended up introducing recurring characters to the franchise, and while it's certainly the weakest link in the series, it has proved important in the meantime. But, had the LAPD just let Brian go, none of it would have happened. This would mean that characters like Roman Pierce, Tyrese Gibson, and Tej Parker, Chris Ludacris Bridges may never have existed in Fast and Furious, which would have been a serious change to the franchise's dynamic. Given that Gibson and Bridges have appeared in all but 3 installments in the Fast saga, it would be strange to imagine the series without them. Additionally, the consequences of Brian's betrayal are meant to be serious, and by removing them, nothing is driving the former LAPD officer's exploits in the sequel. The franchise already has a major issue with a serious lack of consequences, namely, dead characters who won't stay dead. So forgetting about Brian's actions this early in the saga wouldn't bode well for the immediate sequels. In contrast to what we see in the deleted alternate ending. The turbocharged prelude to Too Fast, Too Furious explains what happened to Brian after letting Dom go, and before settling on the opposite coast. On the run from the police, he travels across the country, seemingly forgetting about Mia entirely as he's welcomed by Miami girls upon riding into town. While the alternate ending may have been more emotionally satisfying, it's less realistic and would have seriously changed the way the Fast saga played out. Brian and Mia get their happy Fast and Furious ending. Any longtime Fast and Furious fan will note that, eventually, Brian and Mia do get their happy ending. After being reunited in the 4th film, the pair eventually rekindle their relationship. By Fast 5, arguably the best of the Fast saga sequels, Mia is pregnant with their firstborn son, Jack, and by Fast and Furious 6 they are essentially retired from their life of crime. Naturally, that doesn't quite stick, and they continue to be involved in all of Dom's schemes. In Furious 7, they're expecting another child, though Brian misses the bullets. Thankfully, by the end of the 7th film, Brian recognizes his need to be there for his family, and he officially retires from the life, sticking things out with Mia, Jack, and their new child. While Brian has yet to officially return to the franchise due to the death of actor Paul Walker in 2013, he's been referenced several times and has even reappeared in flashbacks as being the one in charge of keeping the Toretto crew's children all safe while missions are afoot. Mia returned in both F9 and Fast X to help Dom and their makeshift family against Jacob Toretto, John Cena, and Dante Reyes, Jason Momoa, but Brian has kept out of the public eye since his retirement. While many fans anxiously await more news on Brian's fate with the upcoming 11th and final installment, we know that, at the very least, he and Mia found happiness together in the end. The alternate ending to The Fast and the Furious might not have been included in the final product, but the results can be seen throughout the Fast saga. The Fast and the Furious is available to rent on Prime Video in the US.